All right. So yeah. So how do you even get started in becoming a lawyer, and why specifically trademark law as opposed to any other type of law?
Yeah. So growing up on the west side of Chicago, I was exposed to the criminal justice system very early through my father and my brothers because they were, arrested. And so we would have to, go to the county jail or go to court to see what's going to happen with them. And then my dad, ironically, started working for a law firm as an investigator. And so around 5 years old, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, just being in that environment. I didn't know what type of law I wanted to do until I got a little older. Around high school, I figured I want to do something international business because I wanted to travel a lot. And then eventually I decided in undergrad, I wanted to pick intellectual property law. And I picked trademark law. The crazy thing is, though, my dad always had in his mind that I was going to be a criminal attorney. He I know all the judges at the county jail. I'm going to get you so many clients. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. And even after being out of law school for the first 3 to 4 years, my daddy would still call me and be like, I know somebody in jail right now. You could go help him now.
Where'd you go to law school?
I went to law school at the John Marshall Law School in Chicago, which is now UIC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you decide that you want to do trademarking law. Mm-hmm. You get out. You start working for a firm, or how do you start your professional career?
So I had a very ironic situation. I took all my intellectual property classes, got straight A's, finished law school with like a 3.5 GPA, but had no job offers. And by the way, at the time, I had 3 kids. I have 3 kids, and my son was 11, my daughter was 7, and I had a 5-month-old baby. And so I was studying for the bar with 3 kids at home and took the bar, passed it on the first time.
First time.
Shout
out to that.
Thank you so much. I was even on the intellectual property law review, and it was 14 of us on there, and only 2 of us was black, and we were the only 2 that had no job offers. And so that was very depressing because it's like, when you're leaving law school, it's like being drafted into the pros. Like everybody got a job offer, and the other person who was my color did not have a job offer. And so I just remember I took the bar in February, the end of February. We didn't get the results until April, but it was my first time just sitting at home and being still. And because I've been working and going to school since I was 14 years old. And so I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do if I pass, if I fail? I found out I passed in April. And then I had to take a professional responsibility course where I got sworn in with the bar with a professor. And I was like, you know what? I don't have any job offers. I realized I love being at home when my kids come home from school, but I always wanted to be a lawyer. So what does my life just stop because I don't have a job offer? And he said, well, what practice area do you want to practice in? I said, I want to do intellectual property law, which at the time, back in 2013, I thought I had to either work for a big corporation or a big law firm because they were the ones investing in intellectual property. And he said, you will go a long way serving the underserved. And I said, wait, I don't want to do criminal law because I have a history with that just personally. And he was like, no, like who is underserved in the practice area you want to practice in? And it took me a moment to think about it. And I said, small business owners? And he said, yes, you'll go a long way serving them. And I was like, you know what? You're so right. And so I just started my own law practice. The seed wasn't planted that day to be an entrepreneur and start my own business, but out of necessity, I needed to start a business because I had to feed those kids. And people were calling my phone like, I need your help. They knew I was a lawyer. So it started off slow. But then, once I got on Instagram, met a social media manager, things began to pick up and take off. And I just started to hire more people, women that look like me, women that had kids, did not have job offers in the legal space, and offered them a job. And then 11 years later, now we're ranked number 40 out of over 28,000 trademark law firms in the country. And actually, it's so crazy because, out of that list, they published the top 100, and I applied to 50 of those law firms to work at. And now my firm ranks above them. So I know that's a long answer to a short question, but that's how I got here.
That's God's plan. Exactly. I want to go back to 2013 because this is obviously almost beginning of Instagram. We're talking about information not being as readily as available.
Right.
This is pre-EYL. The market for trademark law, I mean, how aware are the clients that you're trying to actually acquire, right? Because most people, I would assume, are like, why do I need that? Why is it important to my business? How are you getting the clients and how are you educating them at the time?
Not aware at all. And I used my social media. At the time, when I got on Instagram, I didn't know any other lawyer on the platform doing what I was doing and just talking about and educating. And I knew I had to go where the people was, right? But also in 2014, 2015, I wasn't only just doing trademarks. I was doing business law. I was doing contracts. I was doing entertainment deals, anything like I can get my hands on as it related to business. But I knew I had to educate the people, and it stuck with me what the professor said. You'll go a long way serving the underserved. And at this time, I think, Barack Obama was still in office or whatever, and it's Black entrepreneurship. It's becoming relevant, but it's not as heavy as what it is today. And so I'm like, there's conferences and there are small events that's happening, but not a lot, especially in my city, Chicago. And so I was like, I just got to go where the people are. And I remember 2016, the Black Women's Expo in Chicago, and they did it a lot. And so I said, I got to get people to my table to just talk to me. And so I rented like 2 of those big chairs that's now very popular baby shower chairs. But at the time, no one was using those royalty chairs. And I was like, if I get the people to my booth, I can talk to them and explain to them why they need my services. And I remember being at home, and I never thought I'd leave Chicago. But that day at that event, it changed my life because women were approaching the booth like, girlfriend, where you get them chairs from? I need them chairs in my living room. What? And I was like, oh, they're just rentals, but I'm a law firm. We offer business services. And, if you have a business, you need your trademark. And women saying with pride, girl, I work for the government. And now there's nothing wrong with working. And, I worked, and everything in corporate America helped transfer my skills and my business. But it was just like a sense of pride with that and dismissive. And it was like, you don't do wills, you don't do divorces. Oh, no, we can't talk. But let me know where you got them chairs from, though. And that's when I knew that I had to go a place where it was just like Black entrepreneurship was okay, right? Or Black excellence was just okay. And every time I had visited Atlanta, I felt that, right? Because I was going down for an event or something like that. So for me, it was just going where the people were and meeting them where they were and then trying to educate them and provide education.